We're live. Hi.
I
You have joined Gameday716, our coverage. Today is Wednesday, as usual, 7 o'clock. It's our first show of December. It's December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day for those history buffs. Um, Today is going to be a very fun day, a very stressful day, as we talk about a lot of the Bills stuff. Um, Today we have CJ, who most of you know, and then new participant Dennis is
uh,
joining the show. No Noah tonight, so we also have Mr. Snow over here. So we're gonna get some opinions from everybody. Dennis is Roosevelt Leaks on Twitter. You can find him at Roosevelt Leaks. Or no, you're not at Roosevelt Leaks, are you? You're at
no, it's at Dennis F. I think
Dennis F. Yes.
322 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, I'll look it up before we're done, and we'll get it before the end. Merry Grinchmas, CJ. Um, how was your week, man?
Good. I was very happy after the Bills game last Thursday, and then just kind of been relaxing, watching the games on Sunday. Loved how that played out, obviously for our positioning, and yeah, excited to play the Jets and get a win against them.
Yeah, how are you doing, Dennis? Just
I'm doing about the same. It
yeah,
was pretty much uneventful weekend, but except what
yeah,
happened Sunday, it was nice, relaxing, watching those games. Knowing we
definitely.
already had the win in the bag, it was.
Yeah, and then
Um,
everything sort of turned out the way we needed it to help us elevate us back to the one seed, which was
yes, it
really
sure did.
nice. Um, really good to see, and was nice to be there and have some confidence for a little while. News broke today. Well, let's do a couple of small Bills news pieces today. They called up defensive lineman CJ Brewer. Um, and the Miami game scheduled for Saturday, December 17th has been flexed to 8:15. So we get another night game, another home game, and another home night game. And we're going to have some fun. Um,
What was it originally? What was what
the
time was the
day
game?
game. I think it was a 1 o'clock.
The
Um,
Saturday though, still.
I think it was still Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was to be determined from the beginning.
Oh, that's right. That's
They
right.
Oh,
never had a set, so then they had planned on 3 games on Saturday
Right.
that weekend. And the final weekend, week 18, is it? We're
17.
having Saturday games, and that's why we're to be determined with New England again. I don't know if you noticed
Right.
that.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the final week against New England here is to be determined still.
Okay.
There's no set time for that yet.
Well, that's great for season ticket holders, just to help
Well, yeah, I
them
know.
plan.
It's I
Um,
prefer the 1 o'clock games myself
do
because
you? Are
I'm
you a
I'm
season
at
ticket
that
holder?
age. At that age where I like to get home
Yeah.
early.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it is what it is.
Yep. Yep. Um, so other news of the Bills, um, and we will talk 15 seconds about this is sixth round pick? Yeah, sixth round pick. Matt Araiza was found not guilty of any charges because they couldn't find enough evidence. Bills cut him. It was still a good move. The punter from San Diego State, who allegedly was involved in a gang rape. And the Bills have a great punter now, and I don't miss him at all.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you can't mess around with a punter, right?
yeah, exactly. Um,
Shouldn't mess around with anyone, but in that
yeah,
situation, but punter especially.
yeah. Yeah. So Von Miller went under the knife yesterday, and he was going in for some exploratory surgery. They were going to reposition his lateral meniscus, which is the kneecap, basically. It was in the wrong column, apparently, for all those doctors out there. And uh, um, when they went in during the surgery, they found an ACL tear, which obviously they couldn't ignore. They had to fix. And that put Von out for the season. Um, Initial MRIs didn't show the tear, which makes me question the MRI equipment. But I also know that they can't see everything or whatever, because I took my cat in for an x-ray and they were like, we can only show you this, this, and this, and this. They had some heavy duty thing for cats. Anyway, but we took the thing we took him in for. Just a sidebar here. The thing we took him in for was like, because we thought he was like eating like something from the house and not just regular food. And they were like, well, our x-rays won't show you whether he's eating that or not. And we were like, so why are we here and why are you doing an x-ray? And they were like, well, we're just going to see if everything else is okay. Anyway, cat's fine. That was
Good news.
Good
Love the
news.
cat's fine.
Yeah,
Von might be done for the season, but Todd's cat is fine. So
the cat is good.
Suit up the cat.
That's right. So Bills took a risk.
Something.
Bills took a risk in signing Von Miller in the offseason. You know, their first out was after 3 years. And just want to kind of get opinions here on what you're thinking about Bills' chances, what this does to the Bills, you know, how this changes leadership in the locker room, maybe, and really, are the Bills still Super Bowl contenders? And that kind of thing. So, CJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess when we heard that he was coming back, when he had said that he was coming back for the Jets game, I was a little bit surprised that he would be back that quickly. And then obviously, as you know, time has passed and he had that exploratory surgery to clean up a few things and then found that out, it's just progressively gotten worse, obviously. But as far as the outlook for the rest of the season, I think this game against the Patriots, and I know that the Patriots are the Patriots, so it's not like an offense that you can sit there and say that, you know, they're one of the best. But at the same time, I think the defense stepped up against them. And I think that I don't like to put a lot of weight into that whole like cliche of like everybody, like the team's listening to what the media says and they're, you know, but at the same time, I think there is something to be said about when you lose a guy like that. I think the team around him is, you know, still thinking in their heads, okay, let's show everybody what we can do without him. And show them that we're still a contender and honestly, yeah, Von's great for, you know, 2 or 3 plays a game of really, you know, getting to the quarterback and making a huge play. But I think that it'll give other guys opportunities that they need and that they deserve. And with Trey coming back, I think that's huge. That'll sure up the back end. You know what I mean? Losing one to gain another is not always the best, but I just think that Trey coming back, more confidence on defense. And they got to believe that, you know, even without Von, they can still get there. You know, I believe it. I think the team believes it.
Dennis, do you think this puts a chip on their shoulder? Like CJ said,
It sure ought to.
Yeah.
This doesn't open some eyes and say, hey, you know, it's time for me to step up.
Yeah,
I'd like to see
Epinesa and Basham.
Russo
really,
or Epinesa become the next Von Miller. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Well, Russo's
You know?
already working his way that way, right? And
Right, right. He's been playing
um,
good too. I don't
yeah,
see,
yeah. He's had a
I
great
mean,
season besides the injury games.
it's certainly not the end of the world. It's
Mhm.
horrible. I'm bummed.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
saddened by it, where he's missed. He's a difference maker for sure. You
mhm.
don't just replace Von Miller, but
Yeah.
these guys
I,
can come around. I mean, we did some good things last year with this defense without him, so I think they
yeah.
can continue it up. And I still like our chances against any of the other teams.
That's good. Um, do we obviously like you said, you can't just replace Von Miller. How much confidence do we have in Epinesa and Basham? And really because they're going to be the two who are really going to fill that spot. And maybe Lawson will probably play some end over there as well. But I mean, your four ends now are really rotating between Epinesa, Basham, Lawson, and Rousseau. And who would have thought that would have been the guys that you were looking at the beginning of the
Right.
season compared to what you have now?
Well, they rotate them. They rotate them a lot, anyways, right?
They do. Rousseau
They do.
seems to play. Rousseau gets more snaps.
Yeah.
I think him and Vaughn were considered the starters. So but Epinesa gets his fair share of snaps, and then Basham, they've been playing at both inside, outside, and linebacker a little bit, but I think they took the linebacker experiment away from Basham. So the void
Yeah.
in the locker room, like I'm sitting there thinking, like, who does this fall on? Like, obviously Poyer is from the defensive side. I mean, Josh is your guy, right? I mean, Josh is your leader. He's out there leading the charge, and are you not entertained? Kind of a gladiator, our guy out there. But from the defensive side, I mean, we used to have Hyde. We used to have, we had Trey, and now Trey's back. I don't know where he stands, in the eyes of his teammates as far as leadership. Um, you know, uh, and now we lose Von Miller, who they brought in. I mean, when they brought him in, they said that he was the closer, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy who was gonna sort of make everything work, and just finish what needed to be finished, in games that the Bills couldn't do last year, and now we're kind of back
Well,
into last year's situation. So,
now it's
um,
time one of these young guys picks up the reins and takes
Yeah.
over a leadership position on that defense.
Yeah.
Edmonds has been doing it.
I was
Ed
gonna say
Oliver.
Edmonds. Edmonds was my first guy that I had in mind too.
I was wondering if Edmonds is a vocal guy.
I don't think he is, but I think if he can continue to play how he's played the past couple weeks, I
Milano.
think the team will have no choice but to just kind of rally behind him and say, okay, he's the main guy, and as long as he plays well, we got his back.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean,
I just think it's his time to step up or step out. Like, he's played well the past couple games. I think it's really time for him to take, the next step.
I think he's played
They-
well all year. I mean, he's really had a stellar year so far. So is Milano. Milano seems to be more injury prone to me than Edmonds, but they both miss games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Well,
Dennis.
they should be professional about it. I mean, I think, as a defensive as a whole, and they probably should realize with or without Von, they should be stepping it up at this time of the year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And this nothing's won yet. They got a lot of ball left.
Oh, definitely, right? They're not even
And
in the playoffs yet.
these
So
next 2 weeks are huge.
yeah,
This Jets game is big.
yes.
And Von wasn't going to be there, so they should be ready for him regardless. They knew that going in that he wasn't going to be there. So
Well, when the Bills, right, when Von said he was coming back after the Jets game, the Bills then threw him on.
No, he said he'd be back for the Jets game.
Right, but then he
Yeah,
No,
and
I
then the
know.
Bills,
then he
Yeah.
Bills threw him
they
on
put him on
IR,
IR and he
saying,
had to
"Hey,
sit
slow
at least
down."
4
Yeah,
more
so he
weeks.
was definitely done
Right.
regardless at that point. Yeah.
Right,
Prior to the news today.
right.
Right. So I mean, he would have been out for the next 4
This weekend
games.
next. And Cincy, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a feeling about that Cincy game. I know we're a couple weeks out from it, but man, I just got this feeling that just like that Rams game the
Mhm.
first week, that they're just gonna want to come out and show who should have won the Super Bowl and who should have been in the, you know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
just feel like they're gonna be like, okay, well, we would have beaten you guys in the AFC Championship, so let's show everybody that that would have been the case.
Right.
Yeah, I remember you saying that even at the beginning of the year, CJ. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like
I
that
just
They
was
do
really
play
think they're
well
gonna be
against the
pumped.
good teams.
Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
They definitely
Especially
Right.
teams
They
that they
rise to the
feel
occasion.
slighted by, right? Or am I
Right.
wrong?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely, especially in the regular season.
Yeah, at the regular season, that's where that's time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So, one item I wanted to talk about is Josh Allen and the Curse of the Princess Bride. So, I was thinking about this, and you know how he was on Good Morning Football, or no, not Kyle Brandt's basement or whatever, every week and doing movie reviews, and he gave the Princess Bride a B or lower, maybe even, but he gave the Princess Bride a B, and he was giving everything else like A's and whatever. But and that was heading into the Green Bay game. Now, ever since then, Josh has not been Josh. And I know we have some injuries here and there, but did he slight the movie by giving it a B? That's my question.
I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, I've
Come
never seen the
on.
movie either.
Oh my goodness. All right, your homework assignments over the next week are to watch The Princess Bride.
right.
It is kind of outdated now. So I can see why Josh wouldn't
When did that come
completely
out? Around
love it.
87, I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah.
87. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was in high school.
yeah, I was younger
What
than
was
that,
the
but
other? It's the guy from. I remember the Robin Hood one that the
Men
same
in
actor.
Tights.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
classic. Like I could tell you
Yes.
everything from that movie. You know
Men
what I
in
mean?
Tights was that had a lot of quotable
This
lines.
one I
and
know.
Dave
Oh, man.
Chappelle and
Yeah,
is
classic. Yes.
Blinken. Hey Blinken.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, homework assignments.
All right.
Well, watch The Princess Bride. It'll be fun. It'll be funny to you guys. Like, I don't think Josh Allen is so used to like higher paced in like faster movies, especially
Yeah.
comedies. But
Something to fit his age demographic, I guess.
right. But it's a very good, very very well done movie. So I think he's been cursed ever since he gave it a B.
All right.
How were his numbers against New England? They were all right, right?
No. I mean, like they weren't Josh. Like
They
they
weren't
were
Josh
mediocre. You know, like for Josh. Okay, let me rephrase. So for like Derek Carr, it was a good game.
Yeah.
But for like Josh Allen, it's like average. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he went 22 of
Even
33.
with the
22 of 33 for 223 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so that called back touchdown wouldn't have made that big of a difference.
Also
wouldn't have got him to 300.
What is most important about
Right.
those stats, though, to me, is the fact that the running game did really well that game, and I just feel like that was a huge focus, was to get the running game going, to take a little bit more off of Josh. And also, he was taking a lot of checkdowns. He was taking a lot of what the defense was giving him, and that is fine with me. You know what I mean? Again, we're getting back to we want him to be doing that as opposed to forcing the ball down the field, which we kind of saw a little bit in those
want
3
him
games.
to be doing that.
Well, I mean, it's
I want them to play with their hair on fire. So Um, and I think now with Miller out, they need to play with their hair on fire.
I think certain games call for that. I think a KC matchup would call for that, but I think a game against New England is not that game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that. Do you think the Jets is?
I think because we lost to the Jets, I think that's a game you come out and you're gunning.
Stomp
You know what
them
I mean?
early.
Yeah, you're gunning. Like you're going as.
That's what I'd like to see.
That's me.
Go up early and end it quick.
Yeah, make White have to beat you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's been okay, but I don't think he's can keep up with Josh. So
he's like he's not a field scanner, like he doesn't progress like past like 2 progressions, and I think if you could just make him get rid of the ball as soon as possible, and put that pressure on him, that I mean, I think you say this every week, put pressure on the quarterback and you'll
bait him into
better,
some bad throws.
Yeah. Make him go through another progression. Make him,
Yeah.
Throw the ball before he wants to.
Yeah, he always seems like he wants to check down to his tight end, to Conklin, I think, a lot.
Yeah, running backs get a lot of passes with him too.
Yeah. And yeah, that rookie running back looks okay.
Yeah.
But Carter, I think, is still, I don't know if he's still injured. He wasn't listed on their injury report as of today. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 guys on their injury report, and 4 of them with an illness. And those are the only 4 who didn't participate. And it's not super important guys other than Corey Davis. Dwayne Brown had limited participation with a shoulder injury. LaMarcus Joyner has a hip issue, and he was limited. So, I mean, to me, Davis and Joyner are probably the 2 who are most important to the Jets. But, you look at the Bills, the Bills injury list, and it's a little bit longer. Today, Milano didn't practice. And when McDermott was asked about it, they said he was day-to-day. Your standard McDermott answer. Jordan Phillips didn't practice. His arm was in a sling. His right arm was in a sling after practice. Reggie Gilliam didn't practice.
What about Dawkins?
Dawkins and Quesenberry were limited, but both did practice. And they think they'll be ready by game time. So, which is great. Getting Dawkins back, even though he's been somewhat inconsistent, is a little bit of a level up from Quesenberry or Bobby Hart or whoever else you're putting in there. So, CJ, sometimes I think you freeze because like you have this amazing ability to like not move and just looks like a complete statue. And I'm like, oh no, did we lose CJ? And then nope, you're just being CJ, man, which is awesome.
Traits I've learned, living in like the wilderness my whole life is, stay still as possible. And maybe, predators won't attack. I don't know.
Yeah. I get it. I'm with you. I've had that same problem living out.
Yeah, you move too much, right? That's what I'm saying.
Raised in Hamburg, like all those predators in Hamburg. And then, but yeah, now my head is too shiny, because it's so the predators can see whatever they want. But I do try to cover up the face at least. I am growing this out for as long as I can stand it, because my goal is to be a mall Santa Claus next year. So yeah, so
Nice.
I'm going gray. It's gonna look
Yeah.
good. I'm hoping I won't need like a real beard or anything. But I just have to work on the voice because I'm a little higher toned than your expected Santa, and no kid wants to come and sit on Santa's lap and go hi. So but that
Well,
that's the
good luck.
goal. That's the goal. It's gonna work. It's gonna work as long as summer doesn't come around. Because then I'll get hot and want to shave it. But maybe I'll head to North Pole, Alaska, or something
Yeah.
for the summer. But back to football. So I think the Bills called up CJ Brewer because of the Jordan Phillips thing. That surprised me when I found out that, or when I read that he didn't practice, and that he was in a sling. That made me a little nervous, because again, you're losing one of your guys out of your rotation, and you're just asking more from the guys. So Brewer, I guess they're gonna rotate in probably right away this weekend. The Jets defense is good, right? Can we agree on that? Like,
Oh yeah, they're legit.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to really see the Bills light them up, but I could also see it being low scoring, and just the Bills winning by 3 and just going through the motions, but never having, like, winning by 3, but the Jets get a late touchdown and it was
Yeah.
never really in doubt. Kind of one of those kind of games too.
Green Bay.
Yeah. Like where you're really just comfortable watching it, but
Yeah.
the score doesn't exactly match what the game was. So
They're a pretty big favorite.
yeah, what's the line? Like 9 or something?
9.5.
9.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I don't think teams have been covering this year either. A lot of
No.
the underdogs have been coming through with the points.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been a strange year with the NFL,
Yeah.
and
Parody.
parity
Yes.
and point. Just games are so strange. Like there are some that are just huge blowouts, and then
Yeah.
I mean the Tampa game from last week. I mean, there was 3 minutes left or 4 minutes left, and Brady leads them to 2 touchdowns, and
Yep. They win by 1.
they win by 1. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, it's just it's a strange year, man.
Yeah.
So I want to swing back to Von Miller because this is more about Brandon Beane than it is about Von Miller, because Beane took a pretty big risk, and like, to me,
You think it's
I
gonna hurt
think
his? You think it's gonna hurt his
he's
optics?
I think he's overrated. Like, and I felt that even before he signed Miller, but I I think I don't. I think I don't have as high of an opinion of Beane as most people do, and I'm just one, like, again, like, signing a 33-year-old to a massive contract, with a lot of money that you can't get out of, isn't the smartest thing unless he's a quarterback,
Edge rushers seem to last a while too, though. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like your Dwight Freeney's and your
Other guys.
oh god, used to play for the Patriots, used to play for Harrison, Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those kind, like them, they just seem to not get as much wear. Like they just seem to have more longevity. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair.
Hey, he was still playing at a high level.
Oh, definitely.
Oh
And
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you could see. I mean,
You know, you
in
can't
last year's
plan
Super
for
Bowl,
injuries.
and yeah. I mean, I think the thing again that's maybe frustrating or ties a bow or whatever is that it's the same knee that he tore before. You know, the same anterior cruciate ligament that he tore before.
Well, Bruce Smith's a good example also, though, because he had 14 sacks in his 34th year. Reggie White, 12 at 34. Kevin Green, 12 at 34. Michael
but these
Strahan,
are all
12 at
time
34.
Bonds going to the Hall of Fame too.
I was going to say, Vaughn is that. I mean, I'm just saying longevity wise. If you said 33, you know what I mean. Like, I gotta hope that the plan obviously was not just for this year, and we needed them for only this year. I gotta say
they couldn't get out of the contract if they wanted to.
I think they wanted to get 3 years out of him. They'd be happy.
Yeah, and I
think they would have gotten that. They still might.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Same knee. I mean, that's a little concerning. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the surgeries are
better, easier.
The technology is much better now.
Well, you wonder. I know for the OBJ. Yeah, I know for the OBJ situation when he tore the same ACL back-to-back years or whatnot. I know that the original ACL that was torn, when it healed, it didn't heal right, and so when it tore again the second time, it was more of a cleaner tear and it was more able to kind of heal fully. So I wonder if there was some damage there left over from Vaughn's previous ACL.
Yeah.
And maybe, and then, maybe that then you'll have a better chance of fully healing, but I don't know. I mean, there's not many specifics on it anyways, but
yeah, I mean, I think we'll find out more.
Yeah.
Probably, when probably through Twitter about how clean the tear was. Or
are you basing your assessment off of like what, like his acquisitions and free agency, or
sort of all of it, and drafts? I mean, early draft picks. I mean, I think Bean gets all the accolades because they hit on Josh, right?
Okay.
When Josh was
and Diggs, right? You have to say the Diggs trade was.
Well, the Diggs trade was good. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, definitely. Diggs was the right player at the right time, and I mean, he was exactly what Josh needed, and he needed that pristine route runner, and I think the Bills knew he wouldn't be as much of a diva as he was in Minnesota, and that they could take care of it, and that this was just a different culture than Minnesota, and those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, I mean, you just think about Moss, Cody Ford. I mean, and you're gonna miss on guys, right? So I mean, it's okay if you miss. You don't have to hit on every pick, right? I mean, and I think they do a good job as well in the later rounds. But I don't.
Russo is great. Let's go back. Let's go. Okay, so
I guess that's where I'm going.
2 or 3 years.
Defend him.
Yeah, right. So 2 or 3 years. Well, no, I'm asking you. So past 2 or 3 years, who is the biggest bust out of the draft, out of all the draft picks?
Past 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Well, if he would have asked you at the beginning of the season or 5 games into the season, it would have been Cook, right?
Well, yeah, like I can make that decision before the game start. Yeah. Don't bring the attention to me now. Go. This is on you. All right. So focus on you and who you don't like. See, you're really killing
I
your
don't-
argument the longer
no,
it takes you
I
to
don't-
answer this question.
I think no. I
Cody
think that
Ford was a good one.
Cody Ford.
He
I
didn't
think
pan out.
But
I
was
think
he drafted
Epinesa-
by Bean?
Yeah,
Zay Jones.
Not
Right.
drafted by Bean.
Oh
Jones
yeah, he was
wasn't
the
a
first
bean pick.
draft.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No, but I think like recently, I think Epinesa hasn't lived up to his draft status. Basham they traded up for to get.
Yeah.
And he is.
That was another situation where we felt as though maybe they could have went elsewhere, and they went back to back on that in that draft.
Right. They went Rousseau Basham. They traded up again. They traded up to get
I
Basham.
remember that. Mm-hmm.
And Creed Humphrey was 2 picks later. And
pretty good defense though,
mm-hmm.
with both those guys in the rotation.
But I think that's exactly. You're in a rotation.
Were they picking them to be home run hitters, or were they picking them as rotation guys?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you pick them in the first round,
and then
in the second round, you're picking guys who are going to be starters. And if you're not picking guys who are going to be starters, then you're making poor decisions.
They start on one of the better defenses in the league.
It depends on what you consider a start, right? I mean, they're part of a rotation, but are Epinesa and Basham both replaceable by other guys? Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the defense they're building, though. That's the defense they want, probably, so they can plug guys in pretty easily, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to think that if they could have a solid guy, that they would love that. You know what I mean? Like if they could have one guy that they could say, okay, we'll put him in and he'll make a play. You know what I mean? But I think they're still feeling that out. You know what I mean? And they're trying to figure out what works best and, who's going to be that guy, I guess.
But I mean, would they draft a player an end that they think is not going to rotate? Because that's their defense, right? Rotating them linemen.
Yeah.
So they're going to draft guys that can rotate, and they're
they only decided to rotate that many, in that many, like
based on the talent
on Kansas City, like after the Kansas City loss. That was when they said we need to rotate guys to keep.
I thought they were always doing it.
To keep guys more fresh. They were, but not at the level or the amount of guys that they're rotating now.
No, I think he's right. I think you're right in that they've always rotated, but I think the need, or I guess from the team perspective, the focus kind of changed from whatever it was before to, okay, we need 4 down linemen that can get to the quarterback anytime we need it. So if that's the case, how do we do that? We hit as many as we can until we get 1 right or 2 right or whatever. And that's what I think, just to kind of bring both your points together.
Ed Oliver and Jordan Phillips are rotating out too, and they're
dominant. Oliver
pretty good.
Oliver plays. I mean, Oliver's a solid.
I guess 60% or higher is to me a starter. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of Kyer Elam and him being benched in week 13 or whatever it is?
That was a weird statement, I guess, that Leslie Frazier made about why.
Right.
It was something about Xavier Rhodes was practicing because Dane Jackson was sick, and it really had nothing to do with Elon.
Right. Right. It was like we wanted to see what we had in Rhodes.
So, I don't know if they were maybe benching him for internal stuff, or.
I mean, that somewhat adds up.
It was just if they were scheming, like in the game against the Rams where they played, what was it, zone? Because that was more in tune with what Benford played in college, so he got the start.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because Elam didn't start, and everybody's like, why is he starting a 6th-round pick over the 1st-round pick?
Yeah.
And then they explained it as they were playing more zone, and that was more Benford's things than Elam's thing.
Right.
So maybe there's something there. But the explanation was strange.
A man one-on-one kind of corner, right? I don't think he.
Yeah.
And they even said that coming out, like that he didn't have the dual skills to play zone and man. That he was
I
really
figured you were
a
writing me a note.
man player or a
Right.
man corner, coming out. But again, that's why are you picking that player who can only do half of what you need when literally last season 95% of their defensive plays were in zone? I don't know. I mean, things just don't always add up with what Bean's doing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, not doing to me, but doing, comma, to me.
Yeah, I know what you
Comma. He won't call me back. I just don't understand.
Right?
We had one great night together, and
He
then
just ghosted me.
I just don't understand him. I mean, that's legitimate. Like, I'm not mad at that. Like, I think that's a legitimate argument.
They're not going to be perfect, but from what they turned it into, I'd have to give him a lot of credit. I mean, he brought in a lot of good players in here.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't, and
But he does. They all whiff on him. Polian used to whiff on him too.
Sure.
Yeah. When you pick that many guys, and you're not going to get them all right.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the percentage of players that stay versus, like, to me, the biggest indicator of how well the GM and coaching staff and everybody that are doing is how long the players that you drafted are staying around. If players, like, I know for a while for the Bills, in that 20-year run where we didn't make the playoffs, we were one of the worst teams as far as, like, guys would come in but not even finish contracts. Yeah, and kind of getting rid of them before their prime. And so I think that's a very interesting statistic, and I'd love to know what his Bean and McDermott's is. But even in my head, I'd have to say it's pretty high.
I bet it's very high because they preach a specific culture, and they I think they know personality wise who they're looking for, but I don't know that always equates to where they're picking them. But they believe in their own guys, and maybe to a fault at certain points. I think we'll see more in this off season than we'll know, because with Edmonds up, with
let's see who they like, and
right. I mean, I think they have to find a way to keep Edmonds with a very small salary cap space, and
while paying OBJ,
while paying OBJ, they're a year away from Gabe Davis. They already paid Knox, and
which didn't look like a great idea at the time. Right now,
is it still looking like a great idea?
Yeah, not so much.
I mean, for what they paid him to make him a top 5 tight end in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was another one.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher there. I'll give you that.
I
don't know
why you pay him that and then kind of phase him out, which I don't know if they're intentionally phasing him out. I think defenses figured out, kind of his route combination, which was somewhat limited as far as I'm concerned. Like, he did very similar routes every game, either in the flat or kind of like down the sideline. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm sure it does. Defenses adjust and whatnot. But.
Yeah.
Good point, though.
What was the other one? Wyatt Teller. I mean, obviously you didn't know. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
So that's a hindsight thing.
I was wondering when that was going to get brought up. Yeah.
And I don't even want to like discredit him for that. I mean, plenty of other people will, but I don't think that was as much of a mistake as it.
I mean, do you think Feliciano or?
I think Feliciano was a mistake.
Letting him go or
signing him in the first place.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he fit their culture at any point.
Okay. And then who is the other lineman that we got?
Spain.
Okay, yeah. He's Tennessee now. Is he any good or?
He's not good, no.
Okay.
No, he was part of the Bengals offensive line
That's what it was.
last season.
And they were known as one of the worst in the league.
Like history of the league.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it just and
Spencer Brown, I mean, is he the
TJ,
guy?
I was just gonna talk about Spencer Brown.
I know we're just getting there, so it's like our brains, you know what I mean? It's like
yeah, because my feelings on Spencer Brown.
Yeah.
And he's not I mean, like I said, you know where I stand. And
play breaks down, guess what side it's on? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's kind of how I feel at this moment with him. But
yep, he's just too flat-footed. He's too tall.
Yeah.
Guys can just run around him, and
go underneath him.
The only way that he stops people is if they're close enough for him to push out of the way. But he doesn't even do like a two-hand. Like you see him like swinging at guys like a defensive lineman more than an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I could keep going and looking at drafts all night and talking drafts, but there's a whole off season to do that. So was there anything that stuck out to you guys from the Patriots game that you think will help carry over into the Jets game? Or even the rest of the season?
Yeah, the lines, D-line stepping up, and in my opinion, Josh taking what the defense has given him again. I think those are two huge parts.
James Cook, I think he's just going to keep progressing.
Yeah.
That's what I thought from the beginning. I mean, he moves. He's got speed.
Yeah. He does.
They use him, though. They got to use him properly.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, they get him in stride and he can do some things.
Yeah, he's been surprised.
Yeah, definitely. And he's made some surprising moves in the backfield, finding holes.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing where,
I think Singletary runs good, though, too. He ran good in the late at
the end
of the year last year.
Yeah, he's been actually, I want to say, like, looking at statistics,
he's another free agent, by the way. So we'll see where the Bills.
He's got a pretty high yard per carry average.
It's like 4.3 or 4.4.
Not bad, you know what I mean, compared to some other players in the league,
Well, yeah, Najee Harris is at like 3.5.
Oh, Najee Harris is
horrible. Yeah. So I just
playing horrible. Yeah. I think he's just going to keep getting a little more and more involved.
But still, he was a second-round pick, so he better be good.
I think Davis will be bouncing back. I think the whole offense is.
You think Davis has a good game this week?
Be playing it. Yeah, I think so.
You think he does good? Because he's just been non-existent,
I mean, the Jets game, Minnesota was, I don't know, they completed a couple balls where it looked like they were punts. They were fielding punts out there in front of them between two or three defensive backs for the Jets, who are supposed to be this great defense, which they are.
I think
they're good up front, but
they don't allow very many passing. I know that too. Like, they're not
touchdowns, right?
Just yards. Just
Oh, is it yards?
I mean, I know I'm more in tune with like fantasy specifically.
Right.
So like from a fantasy perspective, like I know that I know that they've been giving up more yards. I'm trying to think of, let's see what Jets 30th in passing. So they allow the 30th least. God, I hate how they do this. Okay, so
they're second best.
So they're the third,
second best.
Exactly. Yes,
best.
they're the third worst team.
Best.
Worst team you want to play, I guess. If you're the offense, you want to play them.
Yeah.
There's only two other teams you want to play less than them, I guess.
Right.
So that's pretty
I know how it works. I got a couple fantasy teams.
All right. Yeah, so I mean that's 30th, that's pretty good. So I don't know if this will be Davis's week to come back. I think they'll be solid though. I have to imagine. Diggs is going to.
Actually, you know what? It might be Diggs this week. Maybe Davis won't.
I think
get
Diggs will
much
be
action.
Diggs. Yeah, I think Diggs
Every
will be
week is
80,
Diggs
90
week.
yards.
But I think when Davis gets his opportunities now, he'll start cashing them in on him.
I think you need a little bit of a deeper, like for Davis. I just feel like you need a team that's going to allow more on the back end. So I could see like Miami the next week maybe being a good game for Davis.
I see what you mean there.
Yeah. But it could, I've almost taken Davis every week expecting at least 50 yards in my, parlays and stuff like that. And it's just like he hasn't gotten it. But I still every week I expect him to do it. I'm like, yeah, Bill, that's it. 50 yards, 45 yards.
One of these days he's gonna bust out. How many touchdowns has he got this year?
6.
Yeah.
6 or 7. I think is it 6 or 7? I know we had 6. Was it 6 before the Pats game? Remember we had this huge long conversation and just how, and what sucks is that we just had that conversation about how we were questioning his status as the number 2 wide receiver, and he did nothing the next game to relax those fears.
Yeah, he had 2 catches, or
he had a touchdown.
No,
but I think he also dropped like another, probably could have been a longer game. Got a DPI, which was very important. We needed that, or not really, but
I'm in fantasy stats, that's why. Statistics. Real life statistics, CJ. He's got 6 touchdowns.
Okay. That's with the Patriots one last week.
What's his other numbers?
3, 4, 5, 6. Yep.
How many catches and yards?
35 catches on 67 targets. So he's at like a 50% rate on that.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
No, that's horrible for wide receiver too.
Yeah. And he's got 665 yards.
That's pretty good though.
But remember, inflate that with the week 4. What
huge
was that?
Game.
140 and 2. So if you take that off, right? Take that one game out, and that puts him at what? 450, 460.
Right.
4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? It's like
right. Because of his one big game, you're saying.
Yep.
I don't know if he has them at the right time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had one against
1 or 2 or more of them at the right time before the season's out.
Yeah, I mean, if he can turn a playoff performance again into the playoffs,
170,
then I'd be fine with that. All is forgiven. But
he needs,
which is what he did last year.
There's no doubt.
It is what he did.
There's a lot of room for improvement. I'm with you guys on that for sure.
I mean, it's interesting. Like he had 35 receptions last year and 35 receptions in his rookie season. And
he's got to be double that by now.
What?
I was just saying he's got to be almost double that by now.
Oh, he's got 35 now. 35 receptions now.
Okay.
But so we'll probably end with what, 50?
Yeah.
55? Yeah. Something like that. And he'll probably crack 1,000 yards. I mean, he's averaging 19 yards per catch. And again, you take out that 98-yard catch. I mean, take that one.
Oh yeah, that's
play
right.
Away.
That 198-yarder.
Just take that one play away, right? And you've cut. Obviously, you've cut 100 yards.
1/3, like 1/5 of his yards. And...
Right. Right. So, yeah. I mean,
that's the way it goes sometimes with these guys.
It is. It's just
too. You get
speaking of wide receiver too, let's talk OBJ. He has done his tour of the 3 teams, right? Dallas said no. No real news on the Giants.
Excuse me.
I mean, I feel like they said that the Giants was his preferred destination because of the market.
And his family, right?
Yes, and he could live in the city he wanted. That was like the ideal. Yep.
Right. I know he tweeted today, he tweeted people hey, relax, I'm not making a decision today, kind of thing, because he's still 5 weeks away, they're saying now.
Well, Dallas said they don't think he'll play this season, I thought.
Correct. That's what Dallas said.
Now, where did that come from in the Dallas organization, though?
It may have come from somebody who didn't want the Giants to sign him.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Obviously, yeah, makes sense.
I'm
just like, who releases that information? But yeah, that would kill anybody.
Or it may have come from them because they know they ain't signing him.
Right.
Yeah. Or they want him to take more.
Or he wasn't going to sign with them.
Yeah.
Right. So it was Micah Parsons who said that OBJ said he was 5 weeks away. 5 weeks. If the Bills were the number 1 seed, the Bills finish the season as the 1 seed, which I don't think they will. CJ thinks they will. Noah thinks they will.
Well, I didn't say in the division.
No, overall in the conference.
No. Have you seen KC's schedule?
I haven't, but
oh my God,
just kind of laid it out for me.
It's the easiest schedule. No, I don't know if they'll be first. I think they'll win the division. Obviously, I think they'll be 1 or 2 in the conference.
I don't even know if they'll win the division, and we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
So, but just we kind of had the conversation last week, Dennis, about the division and the fact that the Bills were starting in the division in an 0-2 deficit, right? And
yeah, but they're on top now. So
you want to hear this? You want to hear the Chiefs' schedule for the final 4 weeks?
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
Denver.
All the way down. All right. Yep, you got it. Denver.
That's right.
Houston.
Texans, Seahawks, and the Broncos, and then the Raiders.
Denver twice.
Denver twice. Raiders. All teams besides Seattle, below 4 wins.
And Seattle's a pretender, right? I mean,
against KC, I don't think they'll. But that's a great schedule. You know what I mean? To me, that's.
I would take it. That was supposed to be the best division in football, right?
No, I know. Yeah, that's what's crazy. So I think the Bills will have to win out, to stay in this spot, which is gonna be tough.
But they control their own destiny. Right.
True.
They certainly do.
I don't know.
But hey, you never
know how
I
you
mean,
can control destiny
between now and then.
Yeah.
What happens last week doesn't happen this week.
True.
That's for sure.
Any given Sunday, I like it. You know that you're a shoo-in for this show if you use terms like that and you have them ready to go.
Well, I mean, the Colts. The Colts beat the Chiefs. I had put a thing on Facebook about it. How the Colts beat the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Titans. The Bills beat the Titans.
Oh, you're
right.
The Dolphins.
Yeah.
The Dolphins.
We used to do that last year.
The Dolphins and the Jets.
Technically.
Beat the Steelers and the Bengals.
Yeah,
lost to the Steelers and the Bengals, but the Bills beat the Steelers and the Bengals, but the Bengals lost to the Ravens and the Steelers. I mean, there's been a lot of common losses amongst these teams this year.
Yep.
Division games are tough. You never know. I mean, I wouldn't bet against Kansas City in any of those games.
Yeah.
But stranger things have happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's thin at the wide receiver position too. I think that can't be understated. Just if they had a full complement of weapons, that'd be a totally different offense. But
right,
Juju's your top guy. That doesn't.
He's having a pretty good season.
Patty though. They got Pat.
I know.
Pat.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I mean, it's the same deal as we say, right? As long as we have Josh, there's always a chance.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's the same deal, I would assume. And
I like our chances.
As long as they have Mahomes
this year.
I do too.
Yeah, we'll see where we go.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting month and a half, right?
Yeah.
Farewell. This is what we wanted, I believe.
Yeah, well, first right now.
For 17 years, I couldn't give my tickets away to these games.
I gave up my tickets
know?
after about 10. So
Now they're like 300. Now everybody wants to
I
buy them
know.
for like $300 and
I
stuff.
know.
Nice.
I know.
I'll
Not
wait
that
for the
I'm not
Sabres to do
selling them.
that.
We're going, but
Yeah. I'll wait for the Sabres to do that, and then I'll
yeah.
cash in big time.
Then do you have seasons, CJ?
Yeah. For
You do?
Sabres.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you split them with somebody, or you just have them?
No, we don't split them with anybody. My father and I have.
Oh, that's okay. I think I remember you
Oh,
saying that
Yeah.
now.
So it just depends on
That's
if he
really
wants
cool.
to go or I.
Yeah.
I don't get the good games. I'll tell you that right now. I get like the New Jersey games, but it changed a little bit this year. So I think I got the Boston game, which I don't think I've been to a Boston game since I was young, just because or Penguins. That was a great game.
That was. I
It
remember
was.
that now. So, one of the questions came from Brenda, longtime listener, longtime viewer. When you talk about our culture, do you think OBJ fits the culture?
Go ahead, Todd. I can already know what you're gonna say, so
You think so?
I think so.
No, I think he does. I think he will.
Oh, that's a surprise. I did not expect that.
I think he will because I don't think the Bills would even be looking at him if he didn't.
Okay,
I have to agree with that.
that's a good point.
Like they would not disrupt their locker room with 5
This
games
late in the
left.
season, being first place.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
All of that.
Good
So
point.
I mean,
Very good point.
they wouldn't do it just to add talent.
Right.
They're not that team. I mean, this is the team who cut
No,
Marcel
they've proven that.
Darius, and
Right.
I mean, in their first season, they cleaned
Right.
house of talented
They
players.
do their homework too. They know all about the guys they're bringing in here.
Yeah.
They're not just going to throw a bag of money at someone without knowing anything about them.
Yeah. And when he's vouched for by Vaughn, I think you got a little bit of.
That's it.
You
got to go with the people who know him or are close to him.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll affect them.
Well, as I said, if they signed Beckham, it would be and he actually is 5 weeks away, and the Bills win and the Bills get the number 1 seed. He would be there to play their first playoff game. If the Bills didn't get the number 1 seed, he would be there for the second playoff game.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, my thought on it is pretty cliche, and that's if they truly believe that he's going to make this team better.
You do it.
They're going to do it.
Oh.
That's fair.
That's
question though, like, do you have any idea, like, what kind of medical clearance he's getting, or like, so when he comes into these teams, right? Are they doing their own doctors and they're sending their own doctors and they're like,
the Bills have their own staff.
Go check him out. It's
no matter what
a couple-hour process, or like, how does that?
Oh, I'd imagine it is. They go through his medical records and
they put him on a treadmill, and then they can sit there and say,
I don't know,
oh, well, he's this far away, or because like I don't know how
he didn't work out with anybody.
No, the doctors can determine that through the medical records.
They could say he's going to be able to play in 5 weeks. You think, like, just based off
without
seeing him run?
If they're X-raying it and stuff, they'll know.
Okay, all right.
Well, or MRIs or whatever.
They couldn't find the tear.
Yeah,
Vaughn's tear on the MRI.
But they document his rehab. He's been rehabbing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they know where.
I mean, they could miss it. Don't get me wrong; they could always miss something, but
well, like you said,
he's been rehabbing it, so they'll know.
Yeah, they know where he's at.
It's not like he hasn't run on it or worked out.
Got it. Okay.
Because it's all part of the rehab. So
no, they said he looks huge. Like he's gained like 30 pounds or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, but that might not be a good thing.
Right, because if you think about it, like, does that mean
fat
it's all upper body?
It's all up muscle. It's
yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
that definitely doesn't make somebody faster, but
right?
Right.
That's what I'm.
I
That's what I'm-
wonder. I honestly also tend to believe that when you're recovering like that, you take certain kind of I don't want to call them supplements, but certain things that because it's going to produce better growth for the muscle and for
Yeah.
whatever issue you have, it is also in turn going to create more growth for your upper body, things like that, right?
Oh,
So
right.
So
Yeah.
I think that probably has something to do with it. You know what I mean? Because I always go back to the DeAndre Hopkins suspension last year and how he played most of the year through a injury and then got a PED, at the end of the year. And I just always equate the two that he, the reason why he got the PED was because he was taking something to try to, get his body back to the
Regrow
point
his
where,
muscle.
yeah, to the point where he could be good faster. You know what I mean? And, so I think that he's probably doing something like that also, but I don't want to say it's PEDs or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes you get some sort of hormone or whatever to try to help that, and your whole body will just get a lot bigger. Now, I don't know how to adjust that with 5 weeks, but you know what I mean, like how you get back to football shape in 5 weeks. But I'm sure it's
Well,
possible.
maybe that's it. Maybe he needs to get into football shape.
Yeah,
and that's what they're after. Who knows? Like I
Yeah.
said, I just think that if they really believe in it, they're going to do it. And
yeah,
That's fair. I mean, I think that's a fair
Yeah.
assumption.
yeah.
it's kind of a cop out, I guess. But
I mean, it's
No,
an easy
I mean-
it's an easy answer, but it makes sense. And a lot
Right.
of times, with this kind of stuff, you just kind of you got to do that instead of being the conspiracy guy or the guy with the most outlandish theory on what what I
Well,
mean. Like,
yeah, I'm going to go with the medical professionals on this.
yeah.
And,
Oh, really?
I mean,
You're that kind of guy. Okay, cool. I like you already.
yeah,
We go with the medical professionals around here too. That's kind of what we do. We kind of just go with the medical professionals,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even they, and of course they didn't know what was wrong with it that night, and they
Right.
weren't lying the next day when they said they didn't know. A lot of the
Yeah.
times they do fib and
Oh, they're
they're
playing a
not gonna-
game. Coaches
Yeah.
always do that, try to keep
Yeah,
a
but
guy to think that they're
know,
going to play so that they have to game plan for them.
Right.
the
I get
Friday
that.
after Thanksgiving when they said it was day to day and they had to wait for the swelling to come down, that was pretty routine.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, yeah, like you said, I mean, they didn't know it was in there, but then they went in to check it out and then they found it. That's how that works too. It didn't mean they missed it. It means they just didn't do that procedure to figure it out yet.
Well, yeah, hence why
If
he
that
didn't go
makes
back on the
sense.
field, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if
You
that
know,
makes
like-
sense, like,
yeah.
like they can look at an MRI and say, okay, something's here. We're going to go in and clean this up. And then they get in there and they say, whoa,
Yeah.
there's something else here.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, they didn't miss it. They
Yeah.
I guess
They
they
never
did
cl-
miss it, but
But they never cleared him, right? So it's like,
you're not going to, no,
right?
they
So
were
if
not,
it,
he was never.
that's a miss to me. Like, you clear a
Right.
guy, and then
Yeah, exactly.
that's a
And
miss.
then he's
you
hurt.
know?
And then they say, whoa.
Yeah,
Right.
like you taking a couple 2 weeks to figure. Yeah, I don't know if that's a miss. You know what I mean? Like to
Right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And I'd be okay with them signing him and missing if it was just a rental deal. Like,
Yeah.
you're out for the season.
Right.
But you don't want that.
If they go long term and they miss again with a guy,
Yeah,
And-
I mean, I hope they don't. How much money is you going to put into this guy, though, too? I mean,
well, he wants a contract. I mean, that's
I know, but I mean, how much a year? Does anyone know?
13, 12.
does he
That's
really
what
want
I'm
that much?
thinking.
I mean,
That's a lot, but for a receiver, I mean, he's a receiver.
Would you
It
pay?
shouldn't be-
Would you rather pay that to Beckham or to Davis?
Beckham? I think maybe. I don't know.
Because if you pay that to Beckham, and if you give that to Beckham, you're
Right,
most
then-
likely losing Davis. You're most
That's-
likely
yeah.
losing Singletary because they wouldn't.
right, yeah,
they're not
I
gonna pay
agree
him.
with that.
You're possibly losing Poyer if their goal is to keep Edmonds, and I think their goal is most likely to keep Edmonds because he's been their project since day one.
Right.
And
the I just read this, came out 6 days ago. SI says Beckham, who is planning to visit Dallas and Buffalo, is said to want a contract that hovers around $20 million per year.
Yeah, see that?
And the Bills aren't going to do that.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
sure he's saying that, right? Like, I'm sure he's going to say that,
mhm.
Right.
you know. But that's a lot higher than I even.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that's as much as I mean, you give Poyer that money before you give it, or Edmonds that money before you
yeah.
give that to Beckham. I mean,
He's saying more than 7 for just this year. That's what he said.
the Bills don't have that. So, I mean, they cleared out space by restructuring Trey's contract, but that was literally so they would stay under the cap
Yeah.
because they were too close.
And I think Sal Capaccio said they were going to do that anyways,
Right.
regardless.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody thought it had to do with the Odell thing, but yeah, I wasn't convinced that was the case either.
But yeah, that's. I mean.
Yep. So speaking of,
does he want? I mean, they could give him 20 million if it's not guaranteed, and then cut him. You know,
incentive based.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder how much he wants guaranteed out of that. That's really what it is. I mean, the contract's not guaranteed, so.
Yeah.
You know what I read though, CJ, is that Brandon Cooks is very unhappy in Houston.
But they can't do what? You're going to release him, and then you have to hope he clears waivers. I mean, like, how else could we get him? So you release him, right? So you release him. That means that whoever picks up you can't. The trade deadline's over, right? So you can't make a trade.
Oh, I'm not saying this year.
Oh, okay. No, I know he's very.
Yeah, there's going to be some receivers available too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to look that up to see who is available.
You know, that's the thing too. I mean, I'd be okay with them signing Odell, but if they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to be bummed either or excited either way. You know, I'm not going to celebrate and throw a party if they do sign him, but they don't. They don't. I'll be happy about it. That means they like him, and he's got a proven track record. But 20 million a year, I can't see him giving that to. Not guaranteed, anyways. But even though if it would still hit on the cap, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd still end up with a lot of dead cap space, and you don't want that.
And that would carry over to the next season. So
yeah.
I don't see any good wide receivers.
No?
Who are out there right now?
Or who are going to be impending free agents.
I thought they ran a couple of them down. Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
He's underrated, I think.
Well, so there's a couple of them, they said.
There you go.
Today.
All right. Myers, Lazard, Crowder, Green, Hardman, Juju, Landry.
Wow. Oh, Juju was one of them, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's only average really too, right?
Yeah, but that's what you need. I mean, he's a good slot. He's been playing slot all season in Kansas City, and he's a good slot receiver.
I like DJ Shark. I think he could be pretty decent here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys who they could turn into something just because the Bills are good at turning guys into stuff. But
yeah. It helps when you got the quarterback to throw him the ball.
Yeah.
Like we do, you know?
Yeah.
Any average receiver probably, as long as you can hold the ball.
Jay Kumaro will be out there, so.
Oh, that's who we're getting then.
That's who we're getting.
Yeah.
So let's flip from OBJ over to Baker Mayfield being claimed by the Rams. Any thoughts on that at all? And the answer can be no.
I just know that the Rams had said that they believe in his talent. And And I also think that it can't be underestimated how much they just didn't want San Francisco to get him.
I agree with that part because I thought that Carolina was probably doing San Francisco a favor.
Yeah.
Or trying to at least. And then,
but
I heard today
Rams going to be, or Stafford's going to be done for the rest of the year, right? So they still need a guy to finish out the year,
right?
I heard today that McVay really liked him.
Yeah, they just like they think he's got the talent that if he was in the right,
like when he was coming out, that he said he would have definitely, if he was there at number one, he would have definitely taken Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And that he loved his talent. And well, who knows? Maybe he'll revive his career.
Yeah.
Well, they would have to move Stafford then, right?
Yeah, well, it seems like, I don't know. Is he going to come back?
I think he will.
That's a good question. I mean, I didn't think about it till.
Well, actually, this is Mayfield's walk year, so he'll be a free agent at the end of the season.
Oh, well, maybe they won't even take him back in LA then.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see if McVay was blowing smoke or not.
Right.
Because the other part of this is if Mayfield leaves and signs somewhere else, they get a compensatory pick.
Yes.
And they have no picks because they just trade their picks all the time.
Right.
So
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Pretty much everything. Any topics people want to discuss?
I have nothing else. I kind of got to wrap it up though.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. CJ, anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere just yet, but
no, I think we covered a lot of it. It was good.
Good discussion.
Yeah, we have fun on here. We have a good time. We just enjoy each other's company and that kind of thing. So usually Noah takes us home, but
good luck, Todd.
You know how terrible I am at this.
Good luck.
So you're leaving it to me.
Yep.
To crash and burn.
Yeah.
All right. If you made it to the end, well, wait. We would like to thank our special guest, Dennis, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll bring. You'll be willing to come back sometime and
absolutely.
Talk. I really enjoyed the conversation and your input.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
And
you know how to get a hold of me anytime.
Definitely cool.
Especially if it's going to get good these next couple of weeks. So
yeah.
There'll be a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So our room can hold up to 10 people. So
cool.
we can have some fun someday when I get people lined up.
Hey, you're doing a good job here,
especially
fellas.
Around draft time. It's gonna be. We may have a fun mock draft with people and that kind of thing. So, like I said, thank you, Dennis, for joining in. Really appreciate it. If you made it to the end, thank you very much.
Don't forget to
like us,
comment, subscribe
on YouTube or
Gameday716.
Gameday716. Like CJ said. and we appreciate our entire audience. So from me, some RIPs to Bob McGrath of Sesame Street, Nick Bollettieri, famous tennis coach, Gaylord Perry, former Baltimore Orioles pitcher, and of course the lovely and talented Kirstie Alley. All rest in peace. And everyone have a good day. How does he end it? What does he say?
Stay happy, stay healthy.
And we'll see you later.
We'll see you
I don't
next
know.
time. Yeah. Stay sunny, Buffalo.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.